Welcome to Bourbon Taste-Offs, playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. Join us in our season-long quest to find our tastiest bourbon. And here are the playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. They include the first quarter. The first 3 months are done in the books. Here is the list of what is advanced. We are currently recording the second quarter. Please listen into the episodes and follow along and join us in this journey. Hello, welcome to Bourbon Taste-Offs. This is episode number 27. We are your hosts, Todd, Mick, and Joe. Mick, you're a new face to this episode. Welcome.
Yes, the best face you've ever had.
Yes, it is the best face I've ever had, if I've ever had a face before.
So,
yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out too.
Right, whatever.
Right.
Just go with it.
Right.
Yeah.
In previous episodes, I mentioned your name quite a few times, actually.
I've only heard it twice.
Well, Mick.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been a kind of a role model for me with the whole bourbon journey, I guess.
Okay.
And I respect a lot of your choices. I've got two awesome bottles from you. We traded a couple bottles. I got a Blanton's Gold, and you shared a Weller 107 Antique. So you've had some really good ones, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also mentioned you being a big fan of John Wayne and all the John Wayne classics, and just you're a role model to me. I respect you, love you as a brother.
All right, we can stop all the love now.
Vietnam vet, so military. I'm very patriotic as well. So have a lot of respect for both of you. So I'm glad that you accepted the invite to come on to this.
I wish we had a Navy guy here we could all bust on.
Yeah.
The feeling is mutual with Mick. I will add to that.
We have a Marine, we have Air Force, we have Army,
That's right.
Those Navy guys,
Yeah.
All right, I don't want a lot of hate mail going. So we're going to get this going. So this episode was brought to us by Mick. In fact, the label of this is going to be Mick's Picks. So Mick brought 4 bottles of bourbon or whiskey, and we have no idea what they are, other than Mick knows. And we'll hear more about what are these bottles about. I like to list off the bottles that are here, so that people that are just tuning into it can actually see what we're going to be tasting, even though we don't know what we're going to be tasting. In this episode, glass 1 was Old Scout, glass 2 was Duke, glass 3 was Pinhook, and glass 4 was High West Bourbon.
Well, there's one I brought that you will see eventually, and it's my go-to bourbon when I really don't know what I want to drink, and I've always enjoyed it a lot. And so there's kind of a Western theme to what we're doing tonight, and you'll see that when you see the names of the labels of the bourbons I bought. So
cool! I'm excited.
I am too. Yeehaw!
And I will say that I have had 2 of these, and they're both very. I enjoy them. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a bourbon expert by any stretch, but I really enjoy them. And the third one, my cousin Brian Ames down in Champaign recommended and helped me pick out to go along with the theme. And the fourth one is a mystery. I've never had it, and so we'll see how it tastes.
Awesome.
Perfect. So let's get this going. We're going to draw a number out of here, and whatever it is going to go against glass 1. So it's a playoff style bracket, and it will go 1 against 4. So that's a good mix up. Square these away. And I always like
4.
Yep. So we usually start with 1. We kind of go in numerical order just to kind of keep it constant with every week, every episode. So we'll start by the nosing and stuff, but first of all, I want to say cheers, fellas.
Salute.
Salute. Yeah.
Good to see you, Mick.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for the invite, Todd. Appreciate being here.
It's got a pleasant nose.
I pick up some heat right away off the smell.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Maybe my nose is not working right now or something. I thought it smelled pretty mellow.
Yep. It's got that heat.
Got a little bit of heat at the beginning, and then it smooths out as you go down.
Yeah. It does. It feels a little young to me.
I think most of them are pretty much somewhere between 85 and 90 proof.
Okay.
But I'm just guessing.
Sure.
So because I'm not a big fan of really high proof bourbons.
Sure.
But like I said, the two that I've had, and I'll talk about them later, I really enjoyed. The one I've been drinking for probably 10 years. The other one I've had about 3 or 4 bottles of it, and variations of them. There's different kinds, and I've always liked them. So.
Good. No, that reason I only say kind of young is that I'm getting a lot of corn. Like I really like the sweet notes to it. I like the corn and grain flavors to it, and I'm not picking up a lot of like wood. And so when I say young, I'm saying it's probably not in the barrel for very long.
Yeah, probably 3 to 4 years or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely smooths out, and I definitely agree with Todd on the sweet. There's some sweet there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really sweet, but it's got some sweet notes for sure.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a corn whiskey to me, but I enjoy corn whiskeys as well. There's a mellow corn whiskey out there where it's just corn, like straight corn whiskey. And it's like super yellow in color, and this reminds me a lot about it.
And the heat isn't like punching me in the mouth like some other ones in the past that I've taken part in, where I was like, whoa, and it just hangs in my throat. This one does not do that.
And that's why I like something like that, because I don't like that harsh taste of that with that lot of heat. I compare that to drinking a scotch that's real smoky.
Yep.
A lot of peat.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Todd knows that I don't like that. I think that's been kind of a common theme for me, being a newer bourbon drinker and being involved with this is, if I take a sip and it just lingers, like it just doesn't want to go. It's like a really bad hot sauce. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Right.
That's how I look at it. I don't want to have it linger in my throat and not be pleasurable. Or
like when I used to drink beer, a real kind of weedy IPA.
Oh yeah.
Kind of just sits there.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for like the first 5 sips, and then it's like, okay, I'm not ordering another one. So I'm going to move over to 4, kind of compare 1 with 4.
This one smells sweeter to me.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
My nose must not be working well then, because they seem similar to me.
And this one is. I bet you it's not going to have the heat that maybe that first one had.
It didn't. No.
Did you try it already? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right away. It's a little bit. The sweetness is there, I think, but it's a little bit smoother right away, and it'd be nice to find out which one that is.
Oh, that's a lot sweeter than the first one.
And I'm picking up a little bit more oak, just a little bit.
See, that's the thing that I don't. My palate is picking up flavors like that. Doesn't really do that. I go more by the heat and the smoothness and how it tastes from a sweet standpoint. I kind of like the sweeter, nothing really sugary, but just something.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm very similar. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you, oh, that's got oak or
Yeah.
I don't have that defined palate quite yet, but
and I mean for me, bourbon drinking is like smoking cigars. I'm not a big double Maduro or Maduro fan. I like a mild cigar that's gonna has a good taste to it. Same kind of thing with bourbon for me.
Right.
I feel like 4 is lingering a little longer for me than the first one. I feel like the first one's smoothed out really quick.
I would agree with you.
It's good though. They're both good. I like them both.
Mick, are you a coffee drinker?
No.
You're not? Okay.
No. Drink.
So it holds true then that with the cigars and with the bourbons you drink, you like it more like mellowed?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like a heavy taste in my mouth.
Sure.
So that's the same thing with beer. When I drink beer, I'm not a big craft beer guy because I don't like the heaviness that they sometimes have.
Sure. Yeah. Big full flavor, like
I
in your
can't
face.
stand IPAs. They smell great. They're the best smelling beer I think ever made. But I just don't care for the taste of them. I don't know why. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I don't like real dark beers either. Like, you won't see me drink a Guinness or a Beck's Dark, or I just no.
Really?
No, not my thing.
Okay. I'm really into that kind of stuff. I like porters. I like stouts.
I like Guinness, but that's about the only one I like that. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'd rather have a Stella or something, along those lines. Just something more enjoyable.
That's kind of my go-to beer.
Yeah.
Kind of like the one bourbon we have tonight,
Yeah. Well, let's give a little taste off. Figure out which one's going to take the title on between these two, at least. Mick, you're the guest of honor. So
I'm gonna say number one.
Okay.
I like that little bit of heat at the beginning, and then how it kind of smoothed out as it went down. Mm-hmm. And like Joe said, 4 was good, but a little bit too sweet.
Sure.
To me.
Yeah, it was definitely sweeter than 1 for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it definitely lingered for me longer than 1.
So you'd like to?
I like 1.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna go for 1 as well.
I was leaning 2 or 4, I should say, but I'm gonna go back to 1. Give it another taste. Because one thing I've learned through this experiment and this process is that they do change. Like when you taste the first one, it's almost waking your mouth up to the idea of tasting bourbon, and then you kind of go back and it's like, okay, now you can actually compare these two fairly, so.
Yeah, okay.
And actually going back to 1, I think I do prefer it. So I'm glad I'm on the same wavelength with you
I gotta
guys.
say the notes are, it smells, the number 4 smells better to me. I mean, it just smells sweeter. It smells nice.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. I don't know if that makes sense, but
and again,
I like them both.
They were both real nice bourbons. That I would be able to drink it and enjoy it.
Yep.
And I would recommend it to a friend. And down south, we have a Wednesday night smoker where guys bring bourbons in. I would definitely take it and share it, and recommend it to guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I like them both, but 1 for me.
I think 4 held on to the finish was too long for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Very good.
Number 1's the first one.
Yep, number 1 advances. 4 will sit out. And we'll go over to 2 and 3. Yeah, going back to those bourbons that we traded, Mick. Have either of you seen the show? Is a documentary, but it was called Neat.
Yeah,
Joe,
I watched it here that night you
Yes.
had your bourbon tasting.
Yeah, this is more for the viewers, but
but that's what I remember seeing.
Yeah.
Is that night we had that. I don't know what do you call it,
Yeah, we had a bourbon tasting, and
people bought all kinds of different bourbons.
Yep.
And it was a fun night.
Yeah, it was. I had the show Neat playing on all 3 of my TVs, like out in the gazebo and the other room, another room.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And the reason I'm bringing that up is the bottles I traded for those that Mick had. In the show Neat, they're showing from grain to glass. So basically, they're showing the process of what it takes to make a bourbon. They're showing raising the corn, growing the corn, the cooperage where they have to actually cut the tree and make barrels. Everything about bourbon comes from the ground. The grain, the barrels, everything. For it to be a barrel usable for barreling, it's got to be from a tree 65 years or older. I took a trip down to visit my parents in Florida, and on the way down, we stopped in Kentucky at this Castle and Key distillery, and that's what the episode was about. It was basically this brand new distillery called Castle and Key. They ended up setting up their shop in this old abandoned distillery called the Old Taylor Distillery, which E.H. Taylor used to make their bourbon there. Well, it was abandoned after Prohibition and stuff, so they acquired it and they started making Castle and Key bourbon there. We went down a week before the product shown in the movie would have matured, so they had to age it 4 years. Well, a week before it came out, we came down there and we knew that we were coming back up after visiting our parents. So we were able to stop there and stand in line to try to get their first 2 batches of their Castle and Key bourbon that we saw on the show.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's sought after, collectible type of bottle. We stood in line. They initially were giving people 6 bottles to be able to purchase 6 bottles at a time. Eventually, they saw the line growing and growing and growing. They narrowed it down to 4 bottles a person, and then 2 bottles a person, then 1 bottle a person.
They were going to run out.
They were going to run out, and they stopped like 20 people ahead of me, so I wasn't able to get it.
Oh, man.
So I come back home, go to a liquor store. There's like 5 of them sitting on the shelf, and I'm like, I'm like, just grabbed them all up.
That was good bourbon.
Yeah.
That was good bourbon.
Yeah, they're like worth like $350 now, just because of the collectability of them.
Yeah,
That's
that was
cool.
Really good bourbon.
Yeah, so it was such a cool be able to trade some of those.
You shared a bottle of that with
Absolutely.
You gave me, I think, one of each.
I gave you batch 1 and batch 2,
Yeah, and
I still have a couple bottles, and it's just
That's cool.
Yeah,
Mine are gone.
right.
Retirement
Right.
is good.
But just the fellowship, to be able to share these things and actually watch it on this show, which if you've never seen Neat, you need to watch
I'll
Neat.
check
Yeah,
that
it's
out.
pretty
for
cool.
sure.
Really cool movie. So that's why I kind of bring that up, and it's just I don't know, kind of cool to
All right,
share
so
some stories.
Do we show what the loser was at this
No,
point?
we're gonna go between 2 and 3 now,
And then we'll show the loser.
and then we'll show the losers. Yep.
Now we're doing 2.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
I like the nose on this one the best so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Western, you say? These are all Western themed.
In a way,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, I'll explain better when we get them out here. But,
Of course.
But yeah, and I really like that one. That one was, again, that sweetness to it.
Little punch and then gone.
I agree.
Little punch and
Hits
then
the
it goes.
tongue, little warmth, and then as you get it back, it's like, whew, that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's someone that likes like not as much like punch,
Yeah.
and just kind of mellow and smooth, I can see this being very enjoyable. And
It's
it
got
is
a really good flavor to it. I like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I'm gonna clear my palate.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah, these pours, I'm gonna need a little bit more in that one if I have to come back to it. If it passes.
All right,
that
going
was
on to
good.
3.
I am. Yep. So Joe, since the last couple episodes you've been in, have you been dabbling into bourbon a little bit more?
Well, you got my text picture, didn't you?
I did.
Well, yeah, I got that. I told you I was going to get one of those.
Yeah, we in a previous episode we tried the Angel's Envy rye with aged in the rum cask.
Yeah.
I like that one, but then we did the bottle and bond blind, and
Yes.
I got the new riff.
Yep.
I mean, that was a really good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Angel's Envy rye as well.
Yeah.
Now 3 didn't hit me real good.
Ooh.
It's
Punchy right from the smell of it.
the nose right away is like kind of off-putting to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that too.
And it just doesn't have any.
Character.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that one-
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'd pour down the sink.
It does have
Of course, I don't waste
Yeah.
anything like that. Even if it's bad, I'll drink it. But it just doesn't have the same
Complexity.
complexity. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Of the other ones we've had.
I think this one's hanging for me. It's just lingering.
Yeah. Yeah, it's didn't go down as well.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I'd take 2. No question.
Yeah, 2. This one's easy for me to pick. 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that extra like sitting on the.
I know you do.
I do. But I do like 2 better. I mean, what is holding on the finish on this one? It's nothing extraordinary. It's nothing to like brag about. It's just it's there.
I'd say to me it's the strongest one of the 4.
To
My
3?
gut, my gut tells me number
Yeah.
3 is probably the strongest one of the bunch.
As
Yeah,
far as
but-
like the highest proof.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm willing to venture a guess it is.
I agree with you, but it just didn't finish right for me. You know,
I still
Yeah.
from one sip, it's still
Yeah.
hanging in my throat.
yeah. And again, is it something that I would pour down the drain? No, I'd probably mix it with something. You
Yeah.
know? And if I'm going to mix it with something, that means it's not going to make my top four. You know?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. So you picked 2. You picked 2. I was gonna pick 2, and then you're like, it stays, and so I'm like trying it again. I'm like, now I'm enjoying the finish. Like I'm kind of waffling back and forth. I know it sounds like that,
But that goes back to everybody's palate's different. We've
Right.
talked about that before. Like, you know,
yeah.
some people like vanilla ice cream and some people like chocolate ice
Right.
cream. It's just, palates are different.
I guess I'm just feeling confrontational because I'm just gonna go against the grain.
Go ahead.
And I'll pick 3 on this one, but it's not gonna go on anyway. So
It again, I just had some more, and it's almost like
Yeah.
something I drink if I needed to get rid of a sore throat.
A cold.
almost medicinal then.
Yeah,
Like NyQuil.
yeah.
It does have a sweetness right at the beginning
Yeah.
that I do like.
Okay.
But after that, it's where I
All right. So we're going to reveal the bottles. We usually go with the first one we tried that did not
Okay.
pass. So this is number 4.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Again, this is the High West bourbon. It's a blended of straight bourbon whiskeys. Let's see, where is it made?
In the High West.
It's made in bottled in Park City, Utah,
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
and it says it's a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys aged a minimum of 2 years in charged white oak barrels. It's never chill filtered or carbon treated. And utilizing a high variety of rye content, mash bills to convey an earthy complexity with a bit of spice, which I think
So you said minimum of 2 years, so it is a
Yeah.
little younger.
and the perfect marriage of richness expressed by notes of honey, nougat, sweet cornbread biscuits, and lemon zest.
Wow.
With caramel apples and pecan pie lingering on the finish. I didn't see; those are things I can't pick out.
I could bottle like lemon water and describe it as like all sorts of things. Like you never know if they're just like marketing it or are they actually truly pointing out the flavors that you're getting.
And
Makes me want to take another sip of it to see if I can
Yeah.
pick any caramel apple or pecan.
It looks like it's 92%, 46% alcohol, so it's 92.
90 proof then. If
Proof,
you say
yeah.
percent, then
Yeah.
double that to make it a proof.
Well,
So-
yeah, it's 46%, so double that to 92 proof.
Right.
So again, this is one of the ones that I've had. They have different types of High West, and this is their first one, I believe. And again, I've always enjoyed it, but it didn't make the cut.
Right. And if I remember right, Josh has been to this distillery, and we tried a Breckenridge bourbon, and when it didn't pass, he's like, I was at the High West distillery, and I was not a fan of their stuff. And he's like, is it true with all like Utah bourbons that just is the case? And I mean, obviously it's not going to be, but he did kind of mention that it didn't pass muster for him. So it's interesting that it didn't pass this one. So now we'll move over to 3. This is the next one that did not advance.
I mean, and again, you can see it's called Pinhook, and this one particular one is a Bay Colt. See the Western theme?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
High West,
I like it.
horsey,
It's got a horse on it, yeah.
and it's a 2023 release. 101 proof, which is a little higher than what I expected. And which one was this?
This is the
That
4.
was-
That's what everybody.
No, that was
or 3.
3.
And
That
that's
was the one that we felt was a little
I
too
thought that was
harsh.
the highest
Yeah.
proof out of the 4.
Yeah.
I might be
And
right.
This one is. It's distilled at Castle and Key in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Interesting.
That's the one I picked.
Interesting.
And
Yeah, so they're actually making stuff for other
Wow.
So this would be an NDP then. So what an NDP is a non-distilling producer.
Yeah.
So this is advertised as Pinhook, which is their own brand. Well, they take bourbon that's made for them from a distillery, and then they just put their label on it, and but they can ask the distillery to
tweak it,
to make it on their specifications, in a way. So
and the reason now, my cousin said that he had these, and they had different versions of it depending upon the color of the neck.
I actually have a Pinhook in my inventory, and it's like a high proof option. Does it say anything about high proof at all, or is it just?
It's 101 proof.
Right. But isn't listed or say anything as far as saying that it is high proof? Because 101 is really not considered high proof.
No.
I mean,
it just says that they every year Pinhook releases new bourbons and ryes that showcase the best attributes of our barrels. After meticulous barrel selection and blending, we find the perfect proof for each expression.
Yeah, I was a fan. Let's find out what beat it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll set that off to the side. And what I usually like to do is I like to go back to 1 now, because we kind of just got done tasting 2. So this will kind of reset our palate and go back to 1 and kind of revisit it, I guess.
So now we're going to taste 1 and 2 again and see which one is the winner.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Because they advanced. So now they're face off against each other.
And just so you know, if I can say it, the mystery one is still in play.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So
okay, cool.
Because this is the one I've had, and this is the one that my cousin recommended.
Okay.
So the mystery one is still out there.
So your go-to's still in the running too.
Yeah.
So
you would have been upset if it wasn't.
Yes and no.
Right.
But yeah.
I have never seen anybody wear their headphones like Mick is. He's got this new ghetto version of
start rapping after
I
this.
don't know what you're talking about. Oh.
You could mess up your hair. We won't tell anybody.
It's fine. It was like down here. It was
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was slipped.
Sure.
I don't know.
No, it's
All right, number 1. I got to taste it again now. Oh, I really like that one.
still pops the nose though. It still pops the nose.
Yes, it does.
But I agree. Then you taste it, and it is pleasant. And it's not like the finish is like non-existent.
It's there.
It's there,
Mm-hmm. And it's not overpowering.
Right.
It
it doesn't disappear instantly.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
1's good.
It is good.
Yep, it's definitely good.
I'm gonna go back to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that even pops like a rye now. To me, I'm getting more flavor on that now than I did before.
This is going to be a hard one.
I like 2.
I like 1 and 2. They're pretty good.
They're both really good, but two seems a little, just a smidge sweeter, I think.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards 2, but I'm going to try them both.
Yeah, definitely go back. I mean, wash out
Because
with water. Have you ever done anything like this, Mick? Not meaning the podcast, but I mean like a blind tasting. Have you done?
not a blind tasting. I've done tastings that Jeff used to do.
Sure.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
Jeff was the co-owner of the Nice Ash Cigar Bar where you and I met
Yeah, and
16 years ago.
he used to hold bourbon and whiskey tastings all the time when they first started getting their big selection in. Great marketing tool. I mean, people would come in and he did. I remember he did a full range of Johnny Walker, and he did a full range of scotches and things. He actually had a guy from Scotland who was come in, and
Wow.
he was hard to understand.
Sure.
But it was really good because again, kind of like when he first opened the place, they did flights of cigars from Nicaragua, Honduras, and Dominican and stuff, and it helped open up people's palates and understand what's out there.
I agree.
You know.
Yeah, I was actually at one of his tastings when it was like the wild turkey.
Yeah.
And growing up, I think wild turkey was like the one bourbon I like snuck from my parents, and I was like, taught me like, oh, that's nasty stuff. I was like, in my like early teens, like, why are people drinking this? And take a drink, and it's like, oh, it's like gasoline. Yeah.
And it was the same thing with when you talk about bourbons, like in the old days, Jim Beam and Old Number 7 Jack Daniels, they were high rail stuff.
Sure.
Now they're rail stuff because of all the other things that are out there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you got all these craft distilleries and
and so it's like, why would you drink Old Number 7 when you can have a Castle and Key?
Right.
Yep. It wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Old Number 7 you mix with Coke. Castle and Key you don't mix.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, well, you got to pick first. Did you pick first the last one? No, you were always second. You're always like second fiddle.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with number 2 for me. I just like it.
Yeah.
Might be another one of those bottles. I'll
be the tiebreaker this time.
If I pick different.
Yeah.
I think 2 is a little more interesting.
I could go either way, and so because of that, I'm gonna go 1. I want Mick to be a tiebreaker. I want him to his voice
under pressure.
Right.
No pressure. Number 2.
Okay.
I'd like to smooth this. This one again, very nice bourbon.
Yes.
But it had that heat in the beginning, and this one just was smooth all the way through, and that's what I like.
Nice.
And I'm gonna venture to guess that this is probably the winner of this is going to be Mick's go-to. That's my prediction here. I'm excited to see what the result is.
I am too.
Well, let's go find out.
Because there's going to be a bottle of the winner in my collection.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're impressed?
I like 2 a lot.
Well, I will tell
collection.
you. Todd asked what I was doing with these. I said I don't drink that much anymore, and I've actually hardly ever at all. I said I was going to leave him here so you can have the winner as a wedding gift.
That is freaking awesome.
Is that cool?
All right.
You're the best, brother. I love you.
That is cool,
so
especially
awesome.
Because you picked it and I didn't. So
that is so cool.
Is that cool?
I'm almost blushing.
Nice.
Thank you very much. That's very, very sweet.
It's okay, brother.
Thank you.
Don't worry about it.
That's just more proof of the friends I have. Seriously,
so
you guys are
awesome,
awesome.
man.
So let's find out what it is.
Find out.
Number 1 was second up, and it was
Old Scout.
Old Scout. That's actually a good bourbon.
And again, I've never had it, so I didn't know what it was like. It's let's see, West Virginia, Maxwellton, West Virginia is where it's bottled. Smooth Ambler spirits.
That lives up to its name.
We're always on the lookout scouting for great whiskey. When we find something worthy, we haul it home to the mountains of West Virginia and bottle it right alongside the whiskey we make ourselves. So we don't make Old Scout, we procure it. Okay.
That's cool.
And let's see, it's 49.5%. So what would that be? 99 proof?
Does it say any kind of like aging?
Nope, I don't see anything. It just says non-chill filtered.
And if it's a true bourbon, then it has to be 4 years old based on the rules of bourbon, that if it doesn't show it listed, then it's got to be at least 4 years.
It does have a double platinum Ascot award.
Of course it does. I picked it.
It's a good one.
I'm kidding. No, when I first started tasting, I thought it was like young.
It's bottled by Smooth Animal, but it's distilled in Indiana.
Oh, that's another one then. That's NDP.
Yeah.
Trying to find. What did you ask about?
If it had
Age?
like an age statement, which would
Yeah,
be like
I don't see
minimum of 4 years or.
Well, you have to dust off your glasses and take a look.
All right, let's reveal
Which I knew it would- which I
mix
knew it would.
picks. And so you're saying that your go-to is this one,
Yes,
just process of elimination.
yeah, it has to be.
There it is.
So it's the Duke,
That
The
is
Duke.
so awesome.
which is the John Wayne.
That is so cool.
That is awesome.
That is one of my favorite bourbons.
Yep.
I've been drinking it for a long time. I've drank. Well, when I first found it, I was able to get a 6-pack, and I probably drank 3 6-packs. But I really enjoy this bourbon, and the neat thing about it is, Todd has mentioned it. I love John Wayne. I've got 137 of his movies at home. I got books about his life. I got books about particular movies. I do crossword puzzles about John Wayne. I mean, and the neat thing about this is his family and friends are help put this out. And Duke Bourbon is crafted and utilizing John Wayne's love of bold, smooth, full-bodied bourbon from a recipe that until now was unknown, created from handwritten notes and bottles preserved over 49 years in the family archives.
Wow.
That's
So
fantastic.
it was a recipe that the Duke himself had apparently made, and it's distilled in Kentucky, incorporating the highest quality ingredients, aged in charred new American oak barrels. It is 88 proof, so it's not real strong. Right?
Which goes
we
to your points earlier.
Right.
And they're usually this one is they're aged a minimum of 5 years. So this one was bottled in 2023, and the original recipe was 1962.
Wow.
So the neat thing about this is the Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. They also have a double barrel that
Oh,
they
I
put
bet
out,
that's delicious.
and it's very good. This is about $35 to $40 a bottle, depending
That's-
upon where you buy it. All of these were about the same price, and the double barrel is a small batch. Anyway, is right around 110.
Sure.
And then they have one called the Grand Cru. In the last, I think it's 6 to 8 months, it's put into a Cabernet
Oh, sure. So it's a finished.
barrel.
Wow.
It is beautiful.
Wow.
Nice.
And that costs about $159 a bottle.
Okay.
And they're beautiful. I've got about this much of a bottle left at home, about that much.
Mm-hmm.
And I only drink it on special occasions and stuff. And this has always been my go-to bourbon for the last probably 10 years. And I'm glad it won. I didn't.
Yeah, there were no biases. You were just
No
tasting
bias.
it. And
I didn't know
picking
which
a-
one it was,
right.
but I'm glad it won because it is such to me such a smooth bourbon. You can drink it
Anytime.
Yeah.
anytime.
Anytime in the
Yeah.
year, don't matter.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed this Old Scout. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean they were all pretty good. The Old Scout was pretty good, and but
It gave it a run for its money.
and an interesting note is this is the second version of the label.
Oh, okay. So
The first version was a gray label with a black silhouette of John Wayne
I've seen
from
that.
one of his movies.
Oh, wow.
But the distiller did not have the family's permission to use his image.
Sure.
Oh.
So it was
So
a
they
little bit
change
of a
it.
court battle. They also had to fight with Duke University to use the name.
Oh, for crying out loud.
And-
Really?
Yeah, Duke University tried to say that they couldn't use the name Duke.
Why does that not surprise me?
And of course they apparently, obviously won that lawsuit because they put this out. And on the back they have a picture of John Wayne instead of a silhouette, and the family has endorsed this. So
That's cool.
it's again I don't know if you understand the Western theme.
Absolutely, I do.
Duke,
Yep.
Scout, High West, and then a horse.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And I can testify to your love of John Wayne. When you did live a little closer, you moved away, different state, but you came back to visit, and we appreciate it. But when you were a couple houses down, you had a John Wayne room.
Yeah.
He had mirrors and photos and posters
believe
and all sorts of memorabilia. It was
We've talked about John Wayne in the past.
Yeah.
I mean,
He knows my favorite movie.
I even had lunch pails.
That's cool.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, and he may or may not agree with me, but me personally, I love all the John Wayne Westerns, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I watch it anytime it's on, no matter where it is in the movie, The Quiet Man.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That is my favorite John Wayne movie of all time.
When people ask me what's my favorite, I have to categorize them
Sure.
because there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
And so I categorize them: Western, war, and general, right? And Quiet Man, boom,
Yeah.
right? And then my favorite war movie would be Operation Pacific. It's a movie about submarines.
Yep.
And my favorite Western, I go back and forth sometimes, but if he really had to pin me down, because he made so many good ones.
Yes, he
and
did.
even later in his career, he made 3 really good ones. But I always have to go back to The Searchers, because it was such a different type of role for him, a more intense role, and he did such a great job with it.
Yeah.
And the other ones that I talk about later in life, and this is like 71, 73, and right before he died, his last movie, Big Jake, The Cowboys, and the
Love
Shooters.
that. I love all 3 of those.
Yeah, each one had its own, and I think for the Shooters and the Cowboys, he should have been nominated for an Academy Award, because they're just great movies.
Yeah.
I love the Cowboys, just the young kids out on the range.
Yep.
But there's no greater scene than when he says, "I don't need a gun to kick your tail," to Bruce Dern. Like,
No, I'll tell you. How do you do when they come a little bigger, right?
yeah,
And he and the Bruce Stearns answers, and he comes up and goes, "Oh, you want some?" or something like that. And John Wayne goes, "I've had my hip broke once, and my back broke once, and my hip broke twice. On my worst day, I can still beat the living hell out of you." And then he throws that short. He's got his arm, and he throws that short
wham.
jab, punches him right in the nose. One of the best scenes.
I love that scene. That's
is
just
awesome.
classic. Just
I was always a big World War II buff. Any kind of book or movie or story, I would love to hear about it and stuff. So me, it was The Longest Day.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
iconic movie about June 6th. It
Yeah.
surely is.
Yeah.
So, well, the
Duke wins.
The Duke wins. I mean,
you guys verified my go-to bourbon, and I appreciate that. And that is yours.
that's awesome. I'm excited.
That is
That's
awesome.
So cool.
That is yours. Happy marriage, happy life.
Thank you.
And remember, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, indeed.
well, it just wouldn't be right if the Duke didn't win, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm like,
I was a little nervous though, because this, these two I think gave him a run. I mean, I really,
Yeah.
I was really torn and stuff, and that was wow. This is
Todd,
this is a nice
had
little
you had?
bourbon.
I'm assuming you had.
I have never had
Okay,
Duke
so
before.
I
No?
had never had any of them, so this was as blind as it can get for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, completely blind.
And I'll be honest, I didn't know which one was the Duke.
Right.
I really didn't.
Isn't that funny when you have like a go-to
Yeah.
and then you taste it with other ones? You're like, oh my gosh, I can't remember if this is going to be it or not.
So
Yeah. Well, Mick, thank you so much for coming up to Wisconsin and providing this tasting. Joe, thank you. Thank you, viewers, for watching this episode.
yeah, thanks for filling in.
No problem. I was excited when I got asked to come over, and this is the best wedding gift yet right here.
There you go.
This
Thank
is a
you.
gift that keeps giving for a while.
Yeah.
And we hope we have a gift that keeps giving to you, you viewers. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next episode.
Bye-bye.
How many drinks did you have out on the golf course today?
He should have drank more the way he played.
You know, with friends like you, who needs assholes? Or wait, enemies.
He did have two really good shots.
2 out of 18 holes?
Both over trees from the other fairway.
Oh, shit.
They were beautiful shots. Well, he played well. He did play
My
well.
driver was working pretty good.
Yeah, baby. I love when the driver works.
I'm going to have to put an X-rated
Disclaimer.
disclaimer on here.
Warning, not for young children's ears.
This is a drill
Got a water
instructor
for you.
episode.